Good evening, vinyl community. I got a video that is not just about the music. I know a lot of the vinyl community, the music on the record I'm going to show is not a large part of you going to be interested in, but this is not just about the music. This is about the project, the process, what's going on new in music, and I'm going to have a couple video clips here to introduce you to it, and after those are over, then I'm going to come back with an album review, what I think about it and why I think it's important. So hold on.
I stand at my gate, and the song that I sing is of moonlight.
Hi, I'm Lyn Stanley, international recording artist and jazz vocalist. I just would like to give you a brief introduction to what we're doing on this album collection and who we're working with. I've been here today at Mike Garson's home, his studio. With Mike, as you know, is a world-class pianist, composer, conductor, and he's worked with me on my last album and again has agreed to work with me on my new album in a more active role. We'll be developing 2 albums coming up, and they're under the category of a theme I'm calling the Moonlight Sessions, volumes 1 and 2. We're using engineer Al Schmidt on one album. The musicians that we're going to be using on this album are my stellar group of folks that I'm borrowing from albums past, as well as a new person we're drawing in by the name of Christian Jacob, who is also writing arrangements and playing for us on album number 1. We have Joe LaBarbera, world-class drummer. We have Chuck Berghofer on bass, also world-class, part of the Wrecking Crew. He was also on my Interludes album as the one and only bassist. We're bringing back John Chiudini, who's also writing more arrangements for me. We're drawing in Chuck Finley to be on trumpet, one of the very most famous trumpet flugelhorn players around. Ricky Woodard, again, brought him in from when he worked with me on my second album, Potions. The guy's just magical and sexy in the way he plays. Corky Hale is scheduled to be in part of this album. Corky is a wonderful pianist, but she's a terrific harpist. And to bring her in, an idea had come to me that I had heard the song at 17, the way Janis Ian had done it many years ago, and I heard in my head how it might be done with a harp. And Mike Garson could relate to my thought, and he came up with a wonderful arrangement that we will execute in the studio for the second volume album.
Crazy, I'm crazy for feeling so lonely. I'm crazy, crazy for feeling so blue.
One of the things we'll be doing in this album as well is the technical aspect of it. I'm taking this album to a new threshold in my development of quality vinyl. I'm going to be using a technique called one-step pressing. It is going to be, and it will be, more expensive than the traditional vinyl record that you get because of this special technique. But the sound quality is promised because it's only one step removed from the original. It's said to be the most amazing, lacking of noise and amazing quality of sound that you'll get in today's recording. As we get closer to the deadlines, I'll be feeding you more information through my Facebook page or my own website, through the blogs. So please, I'm hoping that you'll join me on this fascinating journey. We are going to be telling you about all of the nuances of the things that we've learned along the process. I'm certain that what we come up with is going to be great, and you will absolutely find the quality there. I will not let it go by if it's not there, trust me. Thank you very much for your time. Please join us.
Moonlight serenade.
The thing that's most critical in audio are the transducers. So that means anything that's converting one thing to another. This is speakers converting electrical energy to mechanical. Okay, that's a difficult thing to do. It's trying to translate what electrically is coming to the speaker into something that is actually moving and creating the movement in the air so that you hear it. And the speaker, being a mechanical device, is subject to all kinds of resonances and inconsistency in its frequency response, because metal and all these materials, all these mechanical materials, have various resonances and so forth. It's just like a bass. Certain notes are huge, and other notes are small. It's like that's resonances. And you have the same thing in speakers. Like I said, when yours comes on the radio, it's like it's a difference.
Yeah.
It just fills the car. You know, I'm driving in my car. It's like, whoa.
Yeah, it comes in. When was One Step really popular? Wasn't it the 50s? And why? And what is so complicated about it?
Well, One Step isn't complicated. It's less complicated in a way.
It's complicated for the pressing plant, though.
Well, they just have to make the metal master, the first negative off of the lacquer, into a stamper. That's all.
When I had the mixing done, you asked that it be given to you in quarter-inch format.
Yeah.
Why quarter-inch when in the past I always thought bigger was better, and I had it done on half-inch because that was what we recommended, but you changed that on this one.
Well, and half-inch came in the late 70s is when it came in. Up to then, it was all quarter-inch. You know, all masters came in on quarter-inch. But then, you know, there was, for some reason, an interest in it because, you know, 3-track had been developed and 4-track on half-inch. Okay, so we have a lot of stock in half-inch, and they thought, well, what would it be like to have 2-track half-inch? I mean, half-inch tape, you know, 2-track, so wider signal on the tape, which would immediately would mean that it would be quieter. It's actually 3 dB quieter. When you actually take two identical machines that are set up perfectly, all the bias, the equalization, everything's set up, and if you don't look at the tape machines and you turn them both on, playing the same thing or recording the same thing, and you A/B them, you'll pick the quarter-inch every time.
You did this test with Alan.
I've done this test with Alan Sides.
Yeah.
I've done it in my own studio for myself just to prove it again.
Yeah.
And every time I've tested that, the quarter-inch wins.
Yeah. I took this one. This album sounds great.
Yeah. Those recordings that the audiophiles call the golden age of audio in the late 50s, early 60s, those were all quarter-inch tapes that those were things were made from.
Is that the Dave Brubeck stuff? Was it?
Yeah, that was so. Well, now the Dave Brubeck.
Tell me about that.
The multi-track was a half-inch though.
Okay.
But the mix down was to quarter-inch.
Okay.
So first off, we're going to even see how much difference we can hear when we actually do a test cut on these 3 different lacquers, and we'll choose the 2 best ones, or if we can't hear any difference, we'll just make a
potluck.
Yeah, it'd be a random thing, but just to be able to tell.
Yeah.
But yeah, we'll do something like that, and then send them to the factory, and they'll do their process, and then we'll get tests, and
they're excited.
And yeah, well, they probably don't even know.
They don't know. They told me they don't know. They're excited.
Yeah, they probably don't know.
Yeah. So there we go. Okay. Thank you.
So all kinds of effort here to find the absolute best way to do this, so that the consumer can hopefully get closer and closer and closer to what we hear off the master. That's the object.
Yep. Totally. Thank you, Brian.
All or nothing at all. Half a love never appealed to me. If your heart never could yield to me, then
Man, I'm excited. I just got these records today. You had to pre-order them. I pre-ordered it. It is way better than I was expecting. I want to tell you about this project, and it's not just about the music. So even if you're not a fan of this genre, jazz vocalists, I think you might want to hear about the project. Here's the album. Trying to get the glare off. First thing, limited numbered edition, hand numbered. I got 498 of 2,000. Only going to be 2,000 of these, and that's an important part of the project that I want to talk about. Hand signed in gold by her. Top of the line tip-on jacket. Gatefold. Has a little brochure. Flip side of that. The whole inside is talking about the project. And the one-step recording process. We'll talk about that a little bit. Here's the record. Oh man. I'm getting glare off of the plastic down here. Sorry about that. These are 180 gram, 45 RPM. Talk about that a little bit more. What's important here, what's significant, is the total project. This is a complete package. I think they're using innovative marketing. This is a great thing for somebody that's not going to sell a ton of records. I think it will lead the way in niche music. I got some notes here. A small project. What do I mean by complete package? It's signed, it's hand numbered, limited edition. Okay, but what makes it such a great project? First off, they started in two of the best recording studios in Los Angeles. Not going to get much better than that. They have the best engineers working. Al Smith doing the engineering for this recording. He is one of the very best. The best mastering. Going to be mastered by Bernie Grundman. They got the best musicians, studio musicians, that Southern California has to offer. You got the best pressing. They're using the one-step process, pressed at RTI. What's the one-step process? I'm not going to go into that particularly, but they skip a couple of the parts of making the stamper. So they get the lacquer, they go to the father, and directly from that they make the stamper. They're going to be limited to 1,000 per stamper because they're doing a great job. They only cut 3 lacquers. They picked the best 2. This record's limited to 2,000 copies. Are they going to issue it in some other format? I don't know. This is a limited edition, and it's part 1 of 2 parts. That's very clever. You get part 1, you're going to want part 2. You come to the game late, you get part 2, you're going to want to go back and get part 1, and I think those are going to be hard to come by. So I think that's very great. Makes them desirable. I think this is a good example of what a lot of smaller groups can do in the future. Okay, how about the music? Well, I've got two or three previous albums done similar to this, except for the one-step process. And I might have said on those that the weakest part was her singing. Okay, that's not bad. She was a good singer, excellent singer. Just wasn't outstanding, but you got the best musicians, the best engineers, the best studios. You're going to have a great sounding record. Well, she's been honing her project. She's worked with most of these people now for her fourth album. Her singing is improved. I don't know if drastically the word, but it is excellent. She has made these standard songs that you heard every famous singer that ever sang these songs. She's made them her own. I really enjoyed it, and this weekend I'm going to be going back and listening to the other ones. If somebody wants to play a record to show how great music can sound, this is a great choice because it's jazz vocalist. Some people might say easy listening. You could play this record for anybody, somebody that's not big into music or not going to be interested in rock and roll. And Ian over there in Singapore, if you didn't pre-order this, get your copy quick, because it's going to be one of the best records ever made to test turntables and cartridges with. I'll just mention one little tune here. The record is great. The arrangements are outstanding. The sound quality is phenomenal. The first record, side 2, starts off with My Funny Valentine. That's not one of my favorite songs. I like it. Oh man, she did a fantastic job on that, and she's doing it primarily with Mike Garson on piano, and you never heard a recording of a piano that sounded any better, and it literally raised the hair on your arms when you listen to that track. And so I know this is not going to be for most of you. They're $99. Okay, there's probably been a few other ones done, this one-step process. The first one, to my knowledge, was Abraxas on MoFi. I don't know what that was limited to, but it was limited, and recently they come out with the Bill Evans Trio on MoFi using the one-step process, and I know that issue is limited to 3,000. So the practicality of this process is maybe 2,000 or 3,000, and that's all there's going to be. So I have just practically beside myself and beyond my expectations with a $99 record. Man, it's pretty hard to imagine. So I hope you all enjoyed the video, and I think for some of these small niche projects, this is showing the future. See ya.